You don't hate how you look, you hate that you're not disciplined. The frustration you feel in front of the mirror isn't about beauty, it's about self-betrayal. You know you could be doing more, you know you could be better, but you keep choosing comfort over consistency, and that's why you're unhappy. And I'll tell you this now, accountability will make you more attractive than any makeup ever will. Because think about it, anytime you skip the gym or overindulge in unhealthy snacks, you feel meh even if you look exactly the same. You say you want something different, but your habits don't align with your goals. You don't need more motivation, and you don't necessarily need to change your eyebrow shape. What you need is discipline, because no one is unattractive when they're trying to be a better version of themselves, because effort is attractive. Accountability immediately changes your energy, and that energy is something that you feel for yourself first before other people feel it. Because when you're more disciplined, you carry yourself with a different energy than when you're not. So this episode is about that, how you'd be hotter if you were more disciplined. Hi everyone, welcome back to Inspired Our Podcast, and it's me, your host, Princess. So that intro was I feel like it was calling out-ish, but I promise you, I'm just going to keep it sis to sis in this episode. And I don't know if I should keep this on or if I should keep it off. I don't know, I think on, because I feel like I'm hiding, like I'm protected behind this screen, my alter ego. Anyways, we all know discipline comes down to self-respect. If someone expects something from you at a specific time, if you respect them, you would deliver it no matter what. But when you expect something from yourself at a specific time, why don't you deliver it no matter what? Why do you keep missing deadlines? Why do you keep rushing through your things? Why do you keep doing things last minute? It's because of that self-respect. So if you don't respect yourself enough to be committed to the journey, to be committed to who you want to be committed to your goals, you're never going to be disciplined. So stop thinking, oh, I wish I just had more willpower, or I wish I was just like the other people who could just stick to their plans. You could be like them, but you need to first look inward. Why don't I respect myself enough for this? You said I'll start waking up early in the morning, but then you don't wake up early in the morning. It's because you don't respect yourself. If you had a job to go to where you had to wake up that same early in the morning, but you're showing up early every single time, but when it comes to you being in charge of your things and yourself, you don't show up. That's a problem that you have to recognize. And it may be hard to show up for yourself when you have this fear of being uncomfortable. You're just so scared of the discomfort, because you know waking up early every single day is hard, doing exercise every single day is hard, putting in the effort, showing up for yourself every single day is difficult. So you're thinking, well, this is too hard, can I do it? And the one I think about the most is how I may just put in all these efforts, wake up early, grind, and it will just be useless. It will never make sense. It's never going to be worth it. What if I work so hard all for it to fail in the end? Like, is there a point to this? What if this is the wrong decision? What if this is not the path for me? So all these thoughts, all these what ifs, all these doubts hold you back from being disciplined, because if you have these doubts, you're never going to truly be unlimited. You're never going to truly be so free to put in the work. You're not going to be confident in the work, and when you're not confident, it's really hard for you to stay disciplined. And the one that ties hand in hand in this is that we keep identifying with negativity. We keep saying, I'm not a disciplined person. You keep talking about how hard your goals are to achieve. You keep talking about how other people have it easier than you. All those things don't matter to your journey. What the next person has is not your business. How easy the next person got it is not your business. It's not your problem. Good for them. End of story. What's your business is how you can make it. And if you feel doing things last minute is not so hard, I work better on pressure. But the thing we don't realize is that over time, lacking discipline and doing things last minute will make you a mediocre person. And being mediocre, being average, doesn't just happen in a day. It comes from choosing comfort over discipline over and over again. Imagine you had a week to put out something, but you procrastinated all week, and then you did it in one day because, well, it's the last day you had. You think you did a good job compared to if you took your time and if you took 1 week to actually plan and put it out? No. So over time, you keep doing mediocre work, then you become an average person, settling for less from yourself, not expecting to go above and beyond in your things because you just don't have enough time due to procrastination. And as you keep staying in this survival mode, you generally just shrink to a limited version of yourself. You keep shrinking to a limited version of yourself, not because you can't, just because you wouldn't. And you also feel behind in life because every single year you procrastinate on your goals, you procrastinate on the things that you want. So you keep setting the same goals every year you're saying you want to be this, but then you don't do it. Every year you want to hit the gym, but you don't do it because of procrastination. So it's completely normal when you start feeling behind in life, because you've basically procrastinated your whole life. You've procrastinated your future. You've procrastinated the person that you are supposed to be. You've procrastinated becoming the better version of yourself. And not having any discipline actually puts you in a state of chaos, because today you're waking up at 6 being so disciplined, the next day you're waking up at noon, today you're eating healthy, tomorrow you're not eating healthy, today you're going to the gym, the next day you're not going to the gym, today you're putting in the effort working towards your goals, the next day you just fall off, and you fall off for weeks. Our brain thrives on routines. When you don't have time to work, you also won't have time to rest, because let's say you're supposed to work all day and rest all night. At night you'll be thinking of the work that you didn't do all day. When you don't create time for one aspect of your life, it's going to spill into other areas of your life. Now, do you see that girl that just has an insane amount of aura, a calm energy? She looks so confident, so put together. She looks like she has her whole life figured out. She's organized and everything seems effortless. But it's not luck, it's discipline. It seems effortless because she plans it out beforehand. So when it's time, she doesn't have to think about it. It just happens. And she's confident because she has put in the work, she has built routines, and she has kept promises to herself. If she didn't do all those things, she wouldn't feel confident. And that girl could be you. Discipline is so freeing. You're not having to think about a million things at once. Most people live in chaos, being distracted from one thing to another, trying to fill 2 cups at once. They're rushed, they're stressed, they're unorganized. But when you stay disciplined, when everything is set in place, you live life calm. Picture this: every single Sunday you meal prep. So when you go to school or go to work, you just come back and you already have what to eat set in place. You now have your evenings to yourself to work on other things in your life, or to even relax, or to do your skincare, or to learn a new skill. You see what discipline does. But when you don't meal prep every single Sunday or during the weekend or when you have free time, when you come back from school or when you come back from work, you start to think about, what do I have to eat? And because you're so tired from the day already, getting that energy to cook will take you so much time, and then your evening is gone trying to cook a meal. So you don't waste time deciding on what to do. You don't waste your energy deciding on what to do, because it has already been decided. That kind of order, it creates peace, and that peace is unmatched. It's rare, and this gives you quiet confidence. You don't need to tell people this is what you do. It speaks for itself, and this is where people start to find you attractive. This is where you start to find yourself attractive. And back to self-respect, how you treat yourself is how others treat you. And once you respect yourself by sticking to your plans, others will follow. When you keep lying to yourself that you will do things and not sticking to the plan, that's where self-hatred comes from. But when you keep to your promises, your standards immediately go higher, and you don't have to mingle with people with low standards. You stop associating with bare minimum people, because you're not a bare minimum person. But if you want to level up in life, start from yourself. Don't look outward and be like, oh my god, these are the kind of people in my life. Why are these kind of people in my life? You attract what you are, because at the end of the day, you can't expect more from people than you expect from yourself. And discipline gives you control over your life. We can be sitting here all day talking about how to be disciplined, how you'd be hotter if you were disciplined, but if you don't actually put in the work, nothing is going to change. And most people without discipline, they wander from left to right. They don't know what works, they don't know what doesn't work, because they haven't tried anything. But when you're disciplined, you've tried A, you've tried B, you've tried C. You know B works better than C, you know C works better than A. So you pick the right option for you. So when you remain disciplined, you've tried so many options, you know what works. Now this gives you power and control over your own life. You become the director of your own life, because you're living every day with intention. You're gaining more clarity as you're putting in the work and as you're putting in the effort. To someone who knows where they're going is definitely so attractive. And now we know that discipline is attractive. How can we build this discipline? The first and best way to build discipline is by being a parent to your inner child, because maybe your inner child is so scared of putting in the work because she thinks she will fail. But if you had a child, how would you help him or her do these things? How would you help them to become a better version of themselves? This is what you have to do for yourself. I remember in my last week's episode or 2 episodes ago, I talked about being the master and the slave in your life, but I realized how harsh that was, because we don't have to be a slave to ourselves. A better approach to look at it is from a parent and child relationship, because your parents, they always had routines for you. So when you want to build discipline and build your routine, you can also view it from parent-child relationship. You can also look at it the same way. If I had a child, what will I do for them? If I had a child, how will I structure her day to make it more disciplined? You won't want your child to just wake up at noon, or you won't want your child to keep eating unhealthy things, because you know that's not good. Parent yourself into building these routines. Parent yourself into having non-negotiables that you must do at every single time, because we don't have to be harsh to ourselves to be disciplined. We don't have to remove all feelings of emotions just to be disciplined. And talking on emotions, we should not always believe what we think or believe what we feel, because emotions lie. Think about the times where you didn't feel like going to the gym, but you went anyways. Didn't you feel good afterwards? But if you listen to that emotion of not feeling like going to the gym, that would have been bad, because you ended up going and you ended up enjoying it. So in your head, if you're saying, well, I'm not going to enjoy it, I'm not going to have a good time, it's useless. You don't necessarily have to believe it. You have to try it out first to know if it's going to be good or not. If your emotion is telling you, well, this routine is so hard for me, I can't do it. Coming back from here and then doing this, working on my skills every evening is so hard, it's impossible. You don't have to necessarily believe that emotion. You can do it regardless. And don't try to be perfect. I was talking about streaks the other day and how if you lose one day, you kind of feel unmotivated to continue. Well, when trying to build discipline, I would try to remove myself from, okay, I've been doing it for 5 days now, but I missed this day, so there's no point in continuing. You know what? Separate yourself from, I've been doing it for XYZ days. Today is a new day and I'm going to do it today. Tomorrow is a new day and I'm going to do it tomorrow. Okay, I wasn't able to do it today because I was so busy with other things that came in my life. Tomorrow is a new day and I'm not going to let what happened yesterday pour into what happened today. Believe me, when I have missed a week on the podcast, it's so hard for me to get back because it's like, what's the point? But when I've been doing it for weeks and weeks, it's easier, and that's completely normal. But missing a week, missing a day doesn't mean that you should continue. It's like that trend where, imagine if you're pouring water in a cup and then you accidentally spill some outside the cup. Does that mean you're just going to spray water everywhere, or you're just going to forget about drinking water? No, you just wipe away what's spilled and continue with your life. So why do we in our life, why do you in your life, because you miss one day, you miss one thing, you fell off here, you fell off there, you feel there's no need to continue? It's all useless, it's all pointless. And you can't be a new person without changing your identity first. Instead of thinking outward in, think inward out. And what I mean by that is, you don't have to wait till you start feeling disciplined or you start putting in the work every single day before you start identifying with being disciplined. You can start to tell yourself, I am a disciplined person. And what do disciplined people do? They stick to their goals, they stick to their plans. They don't say yes where they're supposed to say no. They don't fit into other people's plans and putting their own plans on the back burner. They stick to what they say. So if you keep saying, I'm not disciplined enough, or it's so hard for me, I get so distracted, I could never put the phone down, how is that helping you? How is that helping anybody? These statements coming out of your mouth saying, oh my God, it could never be me, how is that helping you? How is that helping your journey? Your future self is like, girl, it has to be you. It must be you. It's going to be you. And for the summary of this episode, it's just that we should learn to invest in ourselves so much that it's so painful to quit. Because when you have 100 days perfect in doing something, quitting on the 101 day will be so hard than continuing. So that's what we should aim for. Even though we should not hold on to it so much, but we should still aim for investing so much in something that we would not want to leave. So don't be scared of investing time and energy, because these are two things that you can never get back. Trust me. If you feel like you don't want to put in the work now because it may be useless in the future, you're still going to get to that future and you would never know if it will be useless or not. And I like when they used to tell us when we were younger, no knowledge is wasted. I've chosen to believe that no knowledge is wasted. Nothing that you did is going to be a waste. If you keep going, somehow it will make sense. It may not make sense right now, but somehow it will make sense. And lastly, if you only put in the work when you feel like you're never going to get far, that's such a harsh reality. You're not going to get far because we can't trust our emotions. Like I said, your emotions may lie, your emotions may be feeling a bit off that day. Don't trust your emotions, because trust me, like an hour before I started recording this podcast, I wasn't even feeling good. I wasn't even feeling in the right headspace. I was already annoyed, but I can't trust that emotion. I can't trust that feeling of frustration over the plan that I had to record this podcast at this set time. So that emotion, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to trust you because you've betrayed me before. I'm not going to put my trust in you again. So I just did it anyways. And now that I'm at the end of this episode, I feel much better. I feel much lighter, and I could go on to do other things. But if I trusted that emotion of not recording this podcast, I wouldn't even have the energy to do other things, because I allowed that emotion of frustration to pour into my whole day. I would not do this because I'm frustrated. I'm not going to do this because I'm frustrated. So don't believe everything you think. Don't believe everything you feel. Stick to the plan and you'd be hotter. So yeah, this is all for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next week's episode.